First, we are going to install the CPU. Make sure that you line up the two guiding notches on the socket with the notches along the edge of your CPU chip. After installation, close the small metal bracket and apply pressure to reinsert the metal lever. The CPU is now properly installed. Now we will install the heat sink and cooling fan. Depending on your models, the heat sink and cooling fan could be separate, but for the sake of this video, we have screwed our two units together. You now want to mount the cooling unit into its proper position. Here, there are 4 screw holes that align with the 4 bolts on the bottom of the heatsink. Align the bolts and the screws in the unit using opposite corners. After you have mounted the cooling unit, connect the fan's connector into its proper port, labeled CPU fan, on the motherboard. Your cooling unit is now installed.
This is the random access memory, also known as the RAM. The RAM is a physical hardware inside the computer that temporarily stores data. Insert the RAM into the RAM slot, line up the notch in the stick into the slot, then gently apply pressure until you hear a click.
Now we're going to install the power supply. After installing the power supply, be sure to secure the power supply by screwing the 3 screws in the back of the case. The purpose of the power supply is to supply each component in the computer with electricity so that they function properly. Be sure to plug the 24-pin power connector into the motherboard and also the 4-pin power connector. Also, when the hard drive and optical drive are installed, use the SATA power cable to connect them.
Next, we're going to insert the CD-RAM or optical drive. You're going to want to make sure the SATA and power ports are facing the back, then push it in until you hear a click. Your front piece should match and align with the case. Then take your bolts and screw them into the holes.
Now we are going to install the hard drive. Make sure that once you put it in, the arrows are aligned and you hear the clicking sound so that you know it's secure. The hard drive is basically the storage for the computer, and it holds all of the computer's data.
Be sure to plug in the rest of the cables, such as the SATA cables and the SATA power cables, to the hard drive and optical drive.